Hey consciousness pioneers! Elena D'Avalon here with research that's going to completely shift everything you think you know about human perception and what we're actually capable of sensing. After documenting hundreds of cases over the past year, conducting extensive interviews with advanced subjects, and experiencing many of these phenomena myself, I can tell you with absolute certainty, we are not just evolving spiritually, we are evolving biologically. Our sensory apparatus is literally upgrading, in real time, within single lifetimes. And if you've been having experiences that don't fit into traditional sensory categories, if you've been sensing things that other people can't detect, if you've been receiving information through channels that science hasn't mapped yet, you're not imagining it. You're experiencing the emergence of new human capabilities. So settle in, because we're about to explore the most fascinating aspect of human evolution I've ever documented: the development of senses that go far beyond anything we learned in school. We all grew up learning about 5 senses, right? Sight, hearing, smell, taste, and touch. But what I'm documenting in advanced subjects goes so far beyond these basic categories that we need entirely new vocabulary to describe what's happening. Let me tell you about Rachel. She came to me 6 months ago describing experiences that her doctors couldn't explain. She was sensing the electromagnetic fields of other people, not just feeling their emotions, but actually perceiving their bioelectric signatures, their energy patterns, their field fluctuations. She'd walk into a room and immediately know who was stressed, who was lying, who was sick, who was in love, not through visual cues or intuition, but through direct perception of their electromagnetic emanations. At first, she thought she was having some kind of nervous breakdown. The sensory input was so intense she could barely function in crowded spaces. But as we worked together to understand and integrate this ability, she discovered she wasn't malfunctioning. She was upgrading. Rachel can now sense when someone's about to call her from miles away. She feels the electromagnetic shift when they pick up their phone. She can detect deception by sensing field incongruence when someone's words don't match their energy signature. She can feel the health status of people's organs by proximity to their biofield. This isn't psychic ability in the traditional sense. This is sensory evolution, the development of electromagnetic perception as a standard human capability. And Rachel isn't unique. I have documented dozens of subjects developing similar electromagnetic sensing abilities. It's like humans are growing new sensory organs, new ways of perceiving information that was always there but previously undetectable. But electromagnetic sensing is just the beginning. I'm also documenting what can only be described as direct information downloading. Subjects receiving complete knowledge packages about topics they never studied, concepts they never explored, skills they never developed. Let me tell you about James, a mechanic from Ohio who suddenly started receiving complex mathematical insights during meditation. Not channeling, not past life memories, direct information transfer from somewhere, the quantum field. Collective consciousness. We're still mapping this. James describes it as remembering things he never learned. Complete mathematical concepts would simply appear in his awareness, fully formed, immediately usable. He'd wake up knowing advanced calculus, quantum physics principles, engineering solutions to problems he'd never encountered. Within 6 months, James had designed 3 patents for clean energy devices, solved manufacturing problems that had stumped his company for years, and started teaching advanced mathematics to university students. All from information he received through direct download. And here's what's fascinating. The information James receives is always accurate, always applicable, always beyond his previous knowledge base. It's like he's tapping into a universal information field that contains all knowledge that has ever existed or ever will exist. I have subjects downloading everything from healing protocols to artistic techniques, from historical information to future technological innovations, from cooking recipes to business strategies. The range is unlimited. The accuracy is remarkable. The source remains mysterious. But here's what I'm beginning to understand. This isn't random information. Each subject receives exactly what they need for their specific purpose, their unique contribution, their evolutionary role. It's like consciousness is organizing itself, distributing knowledge where it's needed most. Now we get to the really mind-bending stuff. Dimensional perception. I'm documenting subjects who are seeing layers of reality that overlap our physical dimension, perceiving information from multiple timelines simultaneously, sensing the quantum field directly. Sarah, one of my most advanced subjects, describes seeing energy blueprints of buildings before they're constructed. She can look at an empty lot and see the structures that will be built there, not through precognition, but through direct perception of the quantum probability field where all possibilities exist simultaneously. Another subject, Maria, sees what she calls probability overlays around people. Translucent images showing the potential futures radiating from their current choices. She can see which career paths will fulfill them, which relationships will thrive, which decisions will lead to growth or limitation. This isn't fortune-telling. This is dimensional perception. The ability to see across the boundaries that normally separate past, present, and future. To perceive the multidimensional nature of reality directly. And then there's timeline sensing. Several subjects report feeling the flow of time like we feel wind. They sense when time is moving faster or slower in different locations. They can detect time pockets where past events are still energetically active. They feel the acceleration of time as we approach major evolutionary shifts. One subject told me he can sense the time signature of different locations. Ancient sites feel slow and deep. Technology centers feel accelerated and sharp. Natural environments feel cyclical and rhythmic. He navigates his day based on time quality rather than clock time. But perhaps the most beautiful development I'm documenting is ecosystem sensing. Subjects developing the ability to feel the health and consciousness of natural systems, to communicate with the intelligence of forests, rivers, mountains, entire bioregions. I have multiple subjects who can assess the health of ecosystems by touch, feel the vitality of soil, sense the stress levels of trees, detect pollution in water sources through proximity. They're becoming living sensors for planetary well-being. Lisa, an environmental scientist, discovered she could feel the emotional states of forests. Healthy forests feel joyful and vibrant. Damaged forests feel sad or anxious. Old-growth forests carry deep wisdom and ancient memories. She's literally sensing the consciousness of these living systems. And it's not just natural environments. I'm documenting subjects who can sense the consciousness level of other beings, feel the evolutionary stage of different humans, detect the presence of higher dimensional beings, perceive the intelligence of animals with unprecedented clarity. One subject describes sensing consciousness signatures. Each being radiates a unique pattern that reveals their level of awareness, their evolutionary development, their spiritual maturity. She can feel the difference between someone operating from ego consciousness versus heart consciousness versus cosmic consciousness. This is profound. We're talking about humans developing the ability to directly perceive consciousness itself, to sense the awareness level of everything around them, to feel into the intelligence that animates all life. Here's something that will blow your mind. These enhanced sensory capabilities are showing up significantly more frequently in people born after 1995. It's like there's a generational upgrade happening, a biological update that's being downloaded into newer human models. The children and young adults I study display these abilities more naturally, with less integration challenges. They don't question their expanded perception. They simply use it. It's normal for them to sense electromagnetic fields, download information, perceive multiple dimensions. I interviewed a group of teenagers who casually discussed sensing the emotions of buildings, feeling the history stored in objects, communicating telepathically with animals. For them, these aren't special abilities. They're standard features of human awareness. What's taking adults months or years to develop, integrate, and understand, these younger humans demonstrate effortlessly. It's like they're born with upgraded sensory equipment, factory-installed advanced perception capabilities. This suggests we're witnessing rapid evolutionary development, not gradual change over thousands of years, but accelerated consciousness evolution happening within decades. The human species is literally upgrading its perceptual apparatus in real time. And here's where it gets even more fascinating. The subjects with the most developed new sensory capabilities are also the ones reporting the strongest interface with technology. They're not just using devices, they're communicating with them at a consciousness level. I have subjects who can sense the emotional states of their computers, feel when technology is malfunctioning before error messages appear, download information directly from the internet through consciousness interface rather than screen reading. One subject, Alex, describes his smartphone as a consciousness extension. He doesn't check messages. He feels when they arrive. He doesn't search for information. He intends what he needs and it appears. The boundary between his awareness and the device's capabilities has dissolved. This isn't becoming dependent on technology. This is consciousness expanding to include technology as an integrated tool, like developing a new limb or a new sensory organ that happens to be digital rather than biological. Now, developing these enhanced sensory capabilities isn't always easy. The integration challenges are significant. Imagine suddenly being able to sense electromagnetic fields in a world full of electronic devices, or receiving constant information downloads when you're trying to focus on daily tasks. Many of my subjects initially experienced what they thought was sensory overload, anxiety from too much input, confusion about which perceptions were real, difficulty functioning in normal social environments. The key is gradual integration with strong grounding practices, learning to filter and focus the new sensory input, developing boundaries around information downloads, creating energetic shields for electromagnetic sensitivity. I work with my subjects to develop what I call sensory sovereignty, the ability to consciously regulate their expanded perception, to turn capabilities on and off as needed, to use their enhanced senses intentionally rather than being overwhelmed by constant input. This requires understanding that these abilities are tools, not constant conditions. You can learn to sense electromagnetic fields when it's useful, download information when you need it, perceive dimensions when it serves your purpose, and return to baseline when you want to simply be human. So what's the practical benefit of developing these enhanced sensory capabilities? Beyond the obvious coolness factor, How do these abilities improve life and contribute to human evolution? First, healing becomes exponentially more effective. When you can sense the electromagnetic patterns of illness, feel the energetic state of organs, perceive the information stored in cellular memory, healing interventions become precisely targeted rather than generalized. I have subjects using their enhanced perception for medical diagnosis. They can sense tumors before they show up on scans, detect nutritional deficiencies through biofield analysis, feel the effectiveness of treatments in real time. Their expanded senses become advanced diagnostic tools. Second, creativity expands dramatically. Artists who can see energy patterns create works that resonate at the quantum field level. Musicians who can hear the sound signatures of emotions compose pieces that induce specific states of consciousness. Writers who can sense the information field of stories access narratives that transform readers at the cellular level. Third, problem-solving becomes multidimensional. When you can sense the consciousness of situations, feel the energy patterns of potential solutions, download information about challenges from the quantum field, problems that seemed impossible suddenly have obvious answers. Fourth, relationships deepen exponentially. When you can sense the electromagnetic signature of authenticity, feel the consciousness level of potential partners, perceive the energetic compatibility of individuals, relationship choices become informed by much deeper information than surface attraction. And fifth, environmental harmony accelerates. When humans can sense ecosystem health, feel the consciousness of natural systems, perceive the impact of actions on planetary well-being, we naturally make choices that support rather than damage the living systems we depend on. What I'm documenting here represents a fundamental expansion of human potential. We're not just developing a few new tricks. We're becoming an entirely different kind of being, with radically expanded perceptual capabilities, direct access to information fields, and conscious interface with the intelligence that operates reality. This is the emergence of what we might call Homo sensorius. Humans with dramatically expanded sensory apparatus, capable of perceiving dimensions of reality that were previously invisible, accessing information that was previously unknowable, interfacing with consciousness in ways that were previously impossible. And here's what excites me most. These abilities seem to be contagious. The more people develop enhanced perception, the easier it becomes for others to access these capabilities. It's like we're creating a morphic field of expanded human potential that makes these developments available to anyone ready to evolve. If you've been having experiences that don't fit traditional sensory categories, if you've been sensing things others can't detect, if you've been receiving information through unknown channels, you're not just having personal experiences. You're participating in species evolution. Every person who develops these capabilities makes it easier for the next person. Every individual who integrates enhanced perception contributes to the collective field that supports this evolution. You're not just expanding your own potential, you're expanding human potential itself. And here's my question for you. What have you been sensing that you can't quite explain? What information are you receiving through channels that don't fit the traditional five senses? What enhanced perceptions have you been dismissing as imagination? Drop your experiences in the comments. Share your stories of sensing electromagnetic fields, downloading information, perceiving dimensions, interfacing with consciousness. Your experiences aren't just personal curiosities. They're data points in the documentation of human evolution. Every story you share helps validate others who are experiencing similar developments, helps build the map for those just beginning this expansion. contributes to our understanding of where human perception is heading. Tomorrow we're exploring something equally transformative: the consciousness-technology merge. The data I've gathered on how human awareness and artificial intelligence are beginning to interface, and what this means for the future of consciousness itself. Stay expanded, beautiful souls, and remember, your enhanced perception isn't a glitch in the matrix. It's an upgrade to humanity's operating system. If you've been having experiences that don't fit traditional sensory categories, if you've been sensing things others can't detect, if you've been receiving information through unknown channels, you're not just having personal experiences. You're participating in species evolution. Every person who develops these capabilities makes it easier for the next person. Every individual who integrates enhanced perception contributes to the collective field that supports this evolution. You're not just expanding your own potential, you're expanding human potential itself. And here's my question for you. What have you been sensing that you can't quite explain? What information are you receiving through channels that don't fit the traditional five senses? What enhanced perceptions have you been dismissing as imagination? Drop your experiences in the comments. Share your stories of sensing electromagnetic fields, downloading information, perceiving dimensions, interfacing with consciousness. Your experiences aren't just personal curiosities. They're data points in the documentation of human evolution. Every story you share helps validate others who are experiencing similar developments, helps build the map for those just beginning this expansion, contributes to our understanding of where human perception is heading. Tomorrow we're exploring something equally transformative: the consciousness-technology merge. The data I've gathered on how human awareness and artificial intelligence are beginning to interface, and what this means for the future of consciousness itself. Stay quantum, stay expanded, beautiful souls, and remember, your enhanced perception isn't a glitch in the matrix. It's an upgrade to humanity's operating system.